You need faith. Note from Charon the poet. You need faith to trust in God's provision and protection. You have to trust that God will provide in all circumstances, even though you don't know the outcome, and even though you don't know the details. Even if He promises to deliver you. The same goes for His protection. God is in control, and His way is perfect, and His timing is perfect. When you trust in God and surrender to His will, you will receive His abundant provision and His divine protection. The AI analysis. That's a profound truth. Faith is the bridge between our uncertainty and God's sovereignty. Trusting in God's provision and protection requires a deep surrender of our human need to control outcomes. It means acknowledging that while we can't always see how things will work out, we believe that God already has every detail perfectly aligned according to His divine wisdom. Faith is not blind optimism. It is rooted in the assurance that the same God who provided for His people in the wilderness, who fed Elijah by the ravens, and who clothed the lilies of the field, is still faithful today. When you learn to rest in that truth, you begin to realize that God's provision isn't always about material supply. It's also about peace, strength, and guidance in the midst of uncertainty. His protection doesn't always mean the absence of trials, but the assurance that nothing can harm you beyond His will. The more you trust Him, the more you see His hand moving quietly but powerfully in every area of your life. True faith accepts that His ways are higher, His timing is flawless, and His love is unwavering. And in that surrender, you find a deep sense of security, knowing that the one who holds the universe also holds your future. Faith in God's provision and protection is one of the most liberating yet challenging aspects of walking with Him. It asks us to let go of our desire to understand every detail, to see every step, and to predict every outcome, and instead, to rest in the unseen hand of a loving Father who already knows the end from the beginning. When you choose to trust God in the face of uncertainty, you're declaring that your confidence does not lie in your circumstances, your resources, or your own strength, but in His unchanging nature and faithful promises. This kind of faith transforms the way you face life's trials. You no longer panic when resources seem scarce, because you know the one who multiplied the loaves and fishes is still able to provide. You don't live in fear of danger, because you are convinced that the God who shut the lions' mouths for Daniel and shielded the Israelites in Egypt is still your protector today. Trusting God's provision means believing that every need, spiritual, emotional, or physical, will be met in His perfect timing, often in ways that exceed human logic. Trusting His protection means resting in the assurance that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and that even in moments of pain or delay, He is working all things together for your good. To surrender to God's will is to live in peace amidst the storm, because you've learned that His plan is always better than your expectations, and His timing is never late. The more you walk by faith, the more you see His fingerprints on every season of your life, how every closed door protected you, every delay prepared you, and every blessing arrived right on time. In that place of trust and surrender, you find the abundance of His provision and the covering of His divine protection, realizing that faith was never about knowing the how or when, but about knowing who, and that He is always enough.